it's just another example of a locality. And again, if you put these two together, you can just see the distinct differences in them. What's up, guys? So this is going to be a little bit of an interesting one. If you can't see, Russell over here is dripping blood. This is part of on Retics, guys, so it's actually going to be a really good video for you guys. So you guys had asked for videos on genetics, and genetics aren't just different morphs or different, visual abnormalities or mutations, right? There are also genetics that are referred to as localities. Now, not even gonna get into the whole super dwarf discussion, that's a whole other thing. What we're strictly going to talk about are localities. What do we mean by localities? Well, reticulated pythons have a pretty wide range across the Indonesian islands, Southeast Asia, places like that, and different areas produce different patterns, different colorations, and just like almost a different morph, right? We didn't know that when Retics first started being imported, but we've learned that over the years. And one of the things that here at Wildfire that I have tried to focus on is bringing in locality blood to try and outcross all of the different morphs that we have. What do I mean by that? Well, every albino retic in the United States, really in the world, descended from the same wild-caught albino retic that Bob Clark got in, I think it's like 92, something like that. I forget the exact date, but they all descended from the exact same snake. And most of the morphs that we see, it's the same story with them. There was one example found in the wild, and all of the ones that we now have in captivity descended from that same snake. So essentially, they're all inbred, right? Now, how do we fix that? Because inbreeding leads to problems in any species. You inbreed, you get problems. So how do we fix that? Well, one of the ways we can fix that is through locality blood, non-genetically expressed morphs that basically, for all intents and purposes, are normals, but they come from different localities, so they have different bloodlines. So what I wanted to do today was show you guys some of the different localities that we are working with here at Wildfire. So I'm going to start this guy right here. This is Asmodeus. He is a Ternate Island. Some people call it Ternate. Whatever you want to say is fine. He is going to be 2 years old this year, and he was produced by Rodney Bolick. Rodney has all of the Ternate Island localities in his possession. This was out of his clutch number 5 in 2019. This guy is pure wild-caught blood. So what does that mean? That means both of his parents were wild caught. They came out of the wild. He is a true F1. Now, a bunch of you are probably saying, why is he so tame? Well, actually, it's not even, I can't even take credit for this. This is all Russell. Russell loves working with the snakes that are problems, and he was a bit of a problem. He, as you can see, is not now. But anytime you're dealing with an F1, they can be unpredictable. This guy's gotten really chill. You can see down here on his tail, that super bright yellow. His whole body, as he gets older, should exhibit that coloring right there that's on the base of his tail. His whole body should go to that. So he's a little bit dulled out right now, even though he did just come out of shed. It's just, I think, a phase in his development. I still think he's going to get brighter with age, but I'm not the expert on that. If you guys are really interested in these, hit up Rodney. He's got some available, I know that. Next snake up. Go ahead, Russell. Yeah. So Russell is actually holding not only one of our localities, but our oldest snake in the collection. Russell is holding Napoleon, aptly named because he's got a little bit of a little man syndrome, as it were. As you can see from the nice love tap on Russell's arm there, which, by the way, guys, a lot of people would give us shit for showing that. This is part of owning Retics, point blank. It's not if you get bit, it's when. Simple as that. And Russell, actually, I just commended him. He did an excellent job of literally just taking the bite. He didn't flinch, he didn't pull away. If he had, that bite would be a lot worse. So he did very well.
Especially around the wrist.
Yeah.
That could get bad.
Yeah. So anyways, Napoleon is a Bali yellowhead. He is, again, our oldest snake in the collection. He's 15 years old. So when people ask how long they live for, you can see he's very healthy, he's good weight, he's all good to go. 15 years old, no reason he shouldn't live for another 10 years based on care and everything else. This boy was produced by No Ta Hao, who was very well known for his Bali genetics many, many years ago. And I was lucky enough to acquire this guy from a gentleman down in Florida who no longer needed him in his possession. So this is who I want to breed to Queen Bee. It's who I've been trying to breed to Queen Bee because I want to make more Bali yellowheads. It's interesting. His head is actually not nearly as yellow as Queen Bee's, but we picked him because he was a good example, and we could fit all three of these in the same camera, the same frame. And Queen Bee can just be a handful sometimes. So that's why we picked these three. As you can see, Napoleon's now eyeing me up. I'm usually his favorite target, so it's interesting that he actually tagged Russell and not come at me. But so again, Bali yellowhead, you can see the difference. I'm not going to put these two too close together because they're both males. That's a no-no. But you can see the difference in coloration and pattern. They are a little bit similar with their yellow, but that's about it. Like this pattern is way, way busier than Napoleon's, way more intricate. And that's one of the things that distinguishes between different localities. Next up, Joe is holding Makassar. Makassar is our Sulawesi locality retic. She was produced by our good friends Blake and Jen Graves. She is just about a year old now, and I've wanted a Sula in my collection, and I've done videos with Makassar before. I've wanted a Sula in my collection for a long time for a multitude of reasons. The biggest reason is that pattern. That pattern to me is just mind-blowing. The older she gets, the better looking it gets. Like, it's just insane. So I wanted to show her off. That's just another example of a locality. And again, if you put these two together, you can just see the distinct differences in them. Like, they're not even remotely the same. And from their heads, and we can do this because it's a male and a female, their heads are completely different, their patterns, like the coloration, everything about them. So even within normal retics, there's a good amount of expression that can be found amongst different localities just based on where the snake is local to, what geographic region it comes from. So that's a little bit on genetics or localities for you guys. There's a lot more to it than this. This is a very small sampling, but this is some of what we're working with here at Wildfire. Have a good day, guys.